AI and the uncertain future of work. Let's go. Matt goes into this interesting blog post which he wrote 2 days ago, and let's see what we can get from this. So software can now do something that looks a lot like thinking. It's true, we're simulating the reality of how people think through AI specifically, and software is just an extension of that. So like many knowledge workers, I've been guessing at the implications of AI progress for my continued employability. I think this is a great starting point for Matt. This is something that a lot of people right now are questioning, which is, in a world where AI is able to complete work, then what is our employability? Where do we fit in? Like, how do we make money? And let's see if Matt actually gives us the rundown. If not, I'll share my thoughts on this. Let me start by saying that AI has already enhanced my experience as a computer user. I use ChatGPT for brainstorming, research, summarization, translation, simplification, phrasing, word finding, cooking, trip planning, book recommendations, etc., 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 as a replacement of Google. Absolutely. Google is one company that took a big impact because of ChatGPT. There are many others, including Stack Overflow. This is a common trend. When you have an AI agent, an agentic solution that can use search as a tool, you don't need a search engine anymore. And this actually explains why you have the shift from search first to chat first. At work, I specifically use AI to augment what I do. I think this is the most common way to use AI today, through augmentation. Of course, this is a chat-based experience, but if you, of course, project that out as evolution, you go from chat to full automation, where you trust AI agents, for example, to do the work for you, and that's how you can go from augmentation to automation. It helps me understand code, meaning AI, write small personal utility programs from scratch, write and refactor parts of large code bases, aid in code review, etc., etc. Absolutely. AI can do a lot of things that many people do already. So far so good. I definitely see eye to eye with Matt here. How fast and to what degree will AI replace aspects of my job as a technologist? As fast as possible. The reason for that, there's a very old saying, if something can be replaced, it will be replaced, and perhaps it should be replaced. So if there's something that you're doing as part of your job, and in this case, if you're a technologist, then AI will replace aspects of it. How fast? Well, it's already happening. To what degree, I think, is the real question here. AI today can replace most workflows, most aspects of a person's job. And the question is to what degree do they want that to happen as well? What does a senior software engineer at a software as a service do all day? Well, of course, the answer is Hacker News and Reddit. What would an AI system need to do to displace its meat counterparts? It is already displacing the meat counterparts, being human beings, and it needs to do what people already do, and it's already happening. I think that today, transformer-based deep learning foundation models, like those underpinning Claude, GPT, and Gemini, nearly have the required raw reasoning capabilities to fulfill many of the software delivery responsibilities of a typical web developer. 100%. So transformers, being the architecture that kickstart the entire large language modeling space, is powering Claude, GPT, ChatGPT rather, Gemini, all the models that we use today. And it's definitely fulfilling many of the responsibilities, because you can just ask the language model to give you what you want. But not only that, you can also give it responsibilities. So you can give it a role. You can say, you are a technologist. You are responsible for X, Y, and Z. And so this is basically how you can do that. Of course, in the context of web development, you can tell that agent that it's responsible for not just answering your questions, but designing API servers, designing front-end clients, and much more. A simple version of that, I'm not sure what SW means, pipeline looks like. So what I can do, what AI can do. So it's saying that you have a simple pipeline for what a person can do. And this involves every task possible. Although I would say that there are things that people should not be doing, but let's just focus on AI. So ideation, of course, brainstorming, ideation can be done by AI, defining requirements for spec, defining client requirements, defining product requirements. This is all here as well. You've got design, of course. Now AI can use front-end components like ShadCM, Daisy UI to design. Implementation is just code. Testing is running code. And then now with browser use and shell access, AI can also check to see if your code is running. Deployment is putting those systems into production, and observability is watching logs and watching how the system performs. So all of these things, AI is now filling in the gap, and so soon we're going to have this line that's essentially solidified, and it's now competing directly with what a person can do. So this is just inevitable, and it's just a matter of time for that to happen. While AI tools can be prompted to do some subset of those tasks in isolation, iterate in product specs, etc., I don't know if any single system can reliably do all the things end-to-end with minimal input yet. So this is actually what reinforcement learning aims to solve, and there are many techniques that can also assist with this. But this is basically what OpenAI did when they released the new operator agent. It was doing what a person was doing, which is research, ideation. It was gathering requirements, performing that type of execution by browsing the web, but it was doing it end to end. So the OpenAI team trained a GPT model, a vision model, to deal with the execution of web tasks, and then in that process they trained an agent called Operator, which Operator ChatGPT you may have seen. So that's the announcement on January this year, and of course on the left side you define what you want agent to do. On the right side, the agent browses the web and performs those actions for you. Okay, so coming back here. So in terms of writing software, smaller, fast models like Copilot can, for many years, compete with basic statements and pattern matching boilerplate. Newer chatbots can reason about substantial amounts of code, write complex modules end-to-end. Emerging products like Cursor, Windsurf, Aider, etc., can write, modify large interconnected components. Absolutely. So we go from writing boilerplate code, templates, to writing end-to-end code that includes test code. Of course, I have used and love these products like Cursor, Windsurf, Aider, but they are doing nothing more than providing you a good user experience in that process. It's not hard to imagine a black box modifier where the description of a change goes in and PR with the code, passing test explanation of the change that comes out. Absolutely, there's definitely companies that already do this. And a simple example, if we look at the latest release by Claude Code, this is the release that came out just February 24th. Claude Code here is something that's currently available. It's a limited research preview, but it's quite unique. So this is a CLI, a command line interface to run an agent in the terminal. If you run Claude Code on your computer, you can give it tools like GitHub, for example, and that gives you the ability to do what a lot of the work here is described by. So I would say, if you want to pull in the latest issue, work on that issue, and then submit a pull request on GitHub, you can use something like Claude. And the way that's possible is through MCP server. So MCP Claude Code is the bridge here. And if you haven't heard of Claude Code or Claude Model Context Protocol, definitely check that out. They have docs, again, product that has released last year. And I've also covered that in one of my videos, so definitely check that out to learn more about how MCP work. For now, you can combine Claude Code with MCP. How and why? Well, you can tell the agent, Claude agent, that it can fetch the latest information from GitHub and then issue a pull request through the MCP server connected to GitHub. This will just be something that just runs, and you are able to solve this quite nicely today. In the real world, job isn't clean assembly line. Definitely, manufacturing was aiming to create a streamlined solution for work completion, but today's jobs are quite messy. They have lots of unexpected paths. Creativity required, the technical skills required today are different than they were in the past. And so for that reason, you need a reasoning model, like an agent, to be able to help you navigate this complexity. And we got a really good example here. So we've got various tasks form a densely interconnected graph. Dependencies between them are loops. There's lots of other responsibilities not directly related to code making software. So this is just the messiness of life. We've got not so clean assembly line. We've got essentially lots of dependencies that are in the process of creating software in this case, but these are affecting each other. So product affects ideation, which affects requirements, design falls and moves back into requirements. So you've got a very acyclic graph, a very looping graph scenario here. Something affects something else and then just kind of continues to impact the whole system. It might appear that there would be a large model, meaning language model, capable to be able to autonomously handle all the job functions, even an average knowledge worker, even for an average knowledge worker. Absolutely. So Claude Code is a good example of that. I'm not convinced that this is the case. Humans can use AI to great effort by repeatedly prompting the system, incorporating outside information, evaluating responses with variable feedback of the world. I'm not sure if I agree with that. So if you have AI able to create a mental model, and by that I mean it's able to explicitly state what it expects and what doesn't expect, it can run tests to see if those tests are validated, and then if they're not validated, the model can update itself. So in the context of programming, we have assertions. You can have assertions for the positive space and assertions for the negative space. For those who are not aware of what I'm referring to, check out Tiger Beetle's Tiger Style, and if I search for positive space, you see that. So one of their golden rules for assertions is to assert positive space of what you expect and assert the negative space of what you do not expect. This is where data moves between valid and invalid boundary, and that's where the bugs are found. So this is the closest definition that I found for a mental model for agents or large language models. And because agents can execute code through tool use, through shell scripts, through interpreters, they can see if that mental model, its own representation of a model, can validate against its own assertions. And this is one of the best practices for coding that I also use for my own projects, my client projects. I use assertions extensively. This allows me to validate the mental model myself and then assist also the agent in creating a mental picture, a model itself. Even if a model progress halted, how much advancement could be made by incorporating feedback loops and tool use? Quite a bit, and this is actually where a majority of the heavy lifting is done. The mental loop is the positive and negative space, and if we do nothing more than pause the development of language model, right? We just paused Claude 3.7 today as is, we pause GPT 03, and we don't improve it. If we pull the plug on large language models, we can still use the feedback loops through the interpreters, through the shell analysis, through tool use like browser use, to be able to see the response of that execution and then improve the results. So a simple feedback loop here is, hey agent, do this, use this function like web tool or Python tool, look at the response, give me back the response. If it's a failure, incorporate your knowledge of Python, incorporate your knowledge of browsing the web to iterate on that failure until it's solved. So I would say here is the only part that I would disagree on with Matt, but the rest so far so good. The AI capability gaps are shrinking month to month, 100%. Agentic AI systems, finally, Matt is talking in my language, and this is what I've been focused on for many months now. AI agents, agentic systems. The ones that operate autonomously and goal directed behavior are in development. Definitely, I'll give you a couple examples, but the Claude code model is an example of an agent that lives on the computer, access through the CLI, and allows you to perform agentic tasks like code generation, and of course talk to the internet or GitHub through MCP service. We see this as an early, we see this with early prototypes of multimodal browser use systems. That's pointing to the operator, which is what the example I gave you, and protocols to interface with external systems, and that's of course pointing to the MCP. Matt and I are seeing eye to eye. Good job, Matt. OpenAI has reportedly been planning specialized agent to a tune of $20,000 a month. This is the reinforcement learning I mentioned before, and they're definitely able to do that because they're able to generate revenue from that process. It's obviously a very hard problem with lots of ambiguity, but large language models are rather good at reasoning about ambiguity. Yeah, because they understand the intent of the user better, oftentimes way better than people understand themselves. Language model can infer intent, what you want and what you don't want, better than you can. And so if you just do a chain of thought journal, if you just write down or think out loud what's on your mind, and you give that as context only to an AI agent like Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, or anything else, you can quickly infer what you want from that context alone. The potential upside of winners that emerge will be huge. Absolutely, these are just some of the machine learning and AI companies in the space. Everyone who's doing touching kind of data science back in the day, enterprise side, observability. We've got development platforms, which I'm very well familiar with. You've got lots of different speech technologies. You have more on the hardware side as well. You have the hardware side, edge, and also closed systems that are powering lots of the large language model providers. If an AI agent gets scaffolding, allowing it to integrate with arbitrary services, provision, infrastructure, run scripts, etc., 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 maybe even using credit cards, which is also possible. There's now implementations that can do this, including payment, where you give a credit card to an agent and you give it a budget and it can spend that credit card for you. This might be able to approximate the output of a human worker. Absolutely. Again, AI is just simulating what a person does through work. Even if it cannot do all things or do them perfectly all the time, it could still decimate the workforce 100%. This is happening. This is kind of the biggest, I would say, it is a wall. It's definitely a wall rug. It's similar to the crypto rugs that we saw, but it's rugging people's ability to maintain their jobs through the ability to automate what they do day to day. So similarly to how self-driving cars rely on remote human operators to provide guidance in exceptional scenarios, perhaps the knowledge worker of tomorrow will be dropped into nudge an AI agent in the right direction. Yeah, this is actually describing the human in the loop workflow, where you have agent being the driver and human coming in as a tool of execution. So it's no longer human driving, it's the agent driving. So quite important distinction here. Much of the work of software engineering involves person-to-person communication. Yeah, but much of the work used to involve person-to-person. Now it involves person-to-agent, where the human is talking to an agent, and it's just that agent is available, that agent is always listening, that agent is always attentive. And so this is now replacing person-to-person communication. We talk to project managers to understand customer pain points. We discuss trade-offs with stakeholders. We interview candidates, share ideas with others. Yeah, we used to do that, sure. In a world where human knowledge workers are being phased out by AI, though, such communication work becomes less common, 100%. Some of the job responsibilities might become precipitously irrelevant. Ooh, precipitously irrelevant. Yeah, a lot of jobs should not be done. A lot of the responsibilities should not be done by people. They should be automated by AI agents. That all said, I haven't seen compound products that can autonomously do entire jobs, except for maybe some supportive representative chat applications. Well, that's definitely shifting. So one of the biggest issues that I see in this application is an AI agent that has set the standard, the benchmark for others to follow. And unfortunately, we don't see that. Like, for example, yes, OpenAI operator that I mentioned here is live and it's available. Yes, Claude code is live through the research preview and it's available. And yet, it's not end-to-end. It's not entire job. And that's because an agent must do more than live in the browser. It must live in the computer. So of course, the Claude code is a better, I would say, it is a stepping stone for that, right? Because you run Claude code on your computer. Operator at this time, it's running in the browser. So it's just a temporary memory store on the left, the chat context. On the right is a browser that is connecting online. And so this is, I would say, the only stepping stone to get to automate the entire job. So the agent must live on the operating system. And the reason for that is because the agent must interact with the person in real time for that human in the loop workflows that I mentioned. If the agent is not on the computer, if it's just running the cloud, it's not able to infer context, is not able to receive the necessary feedback that it needs to do its job. Because if a human being needs to give feedback, a human needs to be given feedback in real time, the agent needs to adjust. An agent needs to do more than just give back code. It needs to be able to also browse the web, also make changes to the computer on the operating system level. So maybe open applications, maybe change those applications, and then use the human as a tool to perform that task. I think it'll be years before effective versions of such tools arrive, if they ever do. I disagree with this. I think we're months away from seeing this. One of the biggest challenges here, beyond the operating system level agentic AI, is the technology necessary to get there. So right now, a lot of the agents you see either have been trained end-to-end, like Operator, on executing the entire workflow, or they're not using state-of-the-art technologies like graphs, for example. Now, if you haven't heard graphs, definitely pay attention, because I expect that graphs will start to solve a lot of the user experience problems that we see today. So traditionally, if we compare kind of the old, which is traditional workflows, and the new, which is graphs, what we're talking about is, on one side you have a state that is passed on from kind of one position to the next. So a top-down kind of workflow would be step 1, understand context; step 2, generate plan; step 3, execute that plan. A graph is different. A graph, it starts with perhaps similar context, if not the same, but then because it has a reasoning loop, it has essentially nodes and edges, and every node is connected to another node through an edge. It's able to understand how to move forward because it knows its own state, and state is represented in that graph, and it's able to understand how to move forward and transverse nodes through the edges. And for that reason, graphs are an evolution of a traditional workflow, kind of the traditional ETL workflow, where everything goes from top down or left to right. And graphs can navigate better the decisions, and that's a necessary piece of the modern workflows to be able to do that. So those are two of what I believe to be the major hurdles for this. One is we just don't have good operating system level agentic solutions, and two is we just don't have a very solid example of a graph-based AI agent. It's conceivable that the tech will hit a plateau somewhere below the skill level required to take our jobs. Possibly, maybe it's hopium, or maybe I'm underestimating the rate of AI progress. Everyone is underestimating the rate, including myself, and I've been in the tech, I've been in development for more than a decade, and I can say even I underestimate how fast things are moving. If the pace holds, though, then at some point entry-level desk jobs will begin to be commoditized. Yeah, I imagine it's already impacting contractors that provide basic graphic design services, copywriting, etc., etc. 100%. So the biggest consultancy and agencies in the world are feeling this pressure right now the most, and a lot of the knowledge work is going to large language models and AI agents and not going to them. This de-skilling will impact the course of career development as well, since expert professionals must necessarily first be novices. Okay, how might new grads get the prerequisite experience to grow into a seasoned positions if the intro roles have mostly gone to machines? Well, yeah, why would a person do what a machine's already doing? There's no sense to that anymore. Machines often operate faster, cheaper than a person would, so the person would only take the other non-agentic tasks. So perhaps for now it's something more creative, perhaps something more technical, but it's definitely not routine tasks that machines are already doing, or software, including agents. Software is eating the world. Market juicing, definitely demand for that. In case you haven't heard, that's what you should read. His blog post back in 2011, actually. Wow. And yeah, you understand why that's the case. But coming back here, but AI is eating software for sure. So you have, thanks to CEOs like Jensen from NVIDIA, you have this massive innovation of AI, and the hardware is accelerating that trend. Industry has so far witnessed a monotonically increasing demand for software, and abstractive layer after layer enabled more software to be created more easily, etc., etc., etc. Yeah. AI is definitely easier today than it was in the past, but that software over the years was not right itself. Technological advancement of recent AI feels like a different in kind, not just a degree. Yeah, because AI is now writing itself. Let's talk about vibe coding. So, the time has come when art of computer programming is regarded as historical eccentricity rather than useful skill. Mercifully, there will be messy middle where untangling the amount of vibe code or generate spaghetti will require professional intervention. During this time, skills like software engineering and debugging will directly be needed. I disagree, because you have agents that are becoming better at reasoning, and agents are already better than even those who don't know how to use AI. So even if you have a lower tier, an older generation rather, language model help a person with vibe coding, you have a newer model come in, you can refactor the old model very easily. So you just give it the code base as context, ask to refactor, and now you have reduced the technical debt, you've reduced the spaghetti code. So I definitely don't agree there. Beyond that, as agents, AI agents are given larger chunks of responsibility. Who knows what exactly our role as human technologists will be? Well, for now, we are prompt engineers, prompt crafters, prompt directors, prompt managers. This is our responsibility, and this is why agents need us for now. How should software engineers prepare for upcoming changes? That's preloaded. So first of all, learn the tech. Be proactive, watch videos like this, get informed, stay informed, and you will be in a better position. What I am doing is paying attention and learning about AI tools, what they are, how to use them, where they succeed and where they fail. Absolutely, you need to know their strengths and shortcomings, and the only way to get that knowledge, short of doing research of course, is to apply that knowledge into practice. So if you're using the tools, you're more informed than if you're just reading them about them. Workers effectively incorporate such tools into practices. Who use these tools will outperform those who resist. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely be against it, but if you are on the side of adoption, if you accept that it's happening, and ideally if you embrace it, meaning use the tools yourself, then you win. I don't suggest dismissing the new capabilities as a fad. It's not a fad. AI tools are here to stay. They're going to be more powerful and useful. They're going to affect how we work. They are already doing that. I believe that in the medium term, creative professionals who embrace AI will see the output increase and their tedium decrease. Yeah, the boring tasks will be less boring because agents will handle them for you. As usual, the world of software is changing and we have to adapt or die. We've definitely been on the beneficial side of the tech ever since Transformers changed how AI tools were used, and especially thanks to ChatGPT because it made AI more conversational. So big bravo to OpenAI. You guys have done your hard work. Let us, people, adapt to the tech now. So there's quite a few things here. I just want to be concise for time, so I'll just focus on the last two paragraphs. But I definitely think you should read the entire blog post and give a thumbs up to Matt, who took time to write this. This is an extreme and pessimistic view of where technology is headed. It looks like he talks about the pessimism here. I definitely skipped that without intention, but I'll just skip the last paragraph for now. But if you want to learn, looks like more on the pessimistic view of what life without color workers looks like, definitely read this part here. So for now, I'll just skip the last one. For now, pun intended, I'm watching and waiting. Watching is a good one. Waiting, Matt, I think you gotta be more proactive here. And maintaining hope that the upshot could be net positive. Yeah, okay, so this is a position of a pacifist, somebody who is just on the side of essentially hoping that things get better. Of course, there's a level of optimism here, but it's not very proactive. So technology that works with us and for us preempts us, our requests, understands this, and gets out of our way. Okay, sure. So he's optimistic. He's positive, but not very proactive. It's a big flag, Matt. AI advancements may unlock powerful new tools for thought and enhance human cognition. 100%. It's already happening. AI agents are smarter than the world's smartest designers, developers, engineers, project managers. All of the things that people label as a job is now being replaced by AI agents. They could uplift us and deliver new promise of computing. Yeah, that's because we're aiming to simulate ourselves through machines. AI agents are nothing more than simulations of who we are. The better we get at describing our own mental models, what we expect and don't expect of the world, the better models get in that byproduct. So the more we evolved, the more we evolve our thoughts, the faster AI agents evolved with us. I really appreciate this article by Matt. As I mentioned, I read most of it. Feel free to check it out and let either myself or Matt know what you think about it. I will do more deep dives like this. If you have any other articles you want me to review, please drop it in the comments below, and I will definitely take a look and give my thought piece on it. In the meanwhile, if you haven't already, definitely hit the bell icon below, hit subscribe, get on the mailing list, be one of the first to know when I drop videos like it. I share my thoughts, my best practices of helping my clients, of writing code, and I do so on the topics of AI agents, on agentic workflows. So if you want to learn the best practices of putting these technologies into your workflows, into production, definitely follow along my journey as I share my insights and best practices. In the meanwhile, I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for your time.